Fangio, Ferrari number 20, and Berra, Maserati number 30, are on his heels, but Moss holds his lead. Later, Fangio has trouble and takes over Peter Collins' Ferrari number 26. But by now, Stirling Moss has lapped everybody else and is half a minute ahead of world champion Fangio. He streaks over the line, the first ever British winner, with Fangio second and Jean Berra third.
It was pretty dangerous. In fact, I mean, one of the main reasons I raced was because it was dangerous. You know, when you're 17, 18 years old, you want to do something crazy. My name is Stirling Moss. I first heard about the races over here at Pebble Beach because I knew who Phil Hill was, and then I learnt about the races, and it sounded absolutely fantastic sort of circuit. The trouble was I couldn't race there because in those days, and maybe even today, you actually had to be an international event. And of course, America being such a big place, they didn't take out a permit for international races, presumably only for nationals, because there were so many big name drivers over here, Phil Hill, Jack McAfee, you know, I mean, a load of these guys, Jim Kimberley and so on, and therefore they hadn't felt the need to take out an international. Because I'm English, I couldn't race here without it being an international permit, so I just couldn't do anything. I just couldn't take part. Everybody knew about it. I mean, if you're in the sport, you knew about it. Doesn't mean that you've taken part in it. And in fact, at one time, I wanted to race at Road America, I think it was, and I took out an American license, which, because the RAC in England gave me permission to hand my license in and take out an American license, so I could take part in that event. But I couldn't do that at Pebble Beach time because I suppose I didn't think about it, you know, it just didn't happen. And, but, you know, they had great races in America, and being English was really quite annoying at times. Well, the Laguna Seca was, I'd obviously heard about the circuit. I came here and went and had a look at it and brought over, I think it was a Lotus 19 or something. And very, very interesting. I mean, one of the greatest short circuits in the world. I mean, I'd say Monaco, because it's in the town, and then Laguna. I mean, really quite demanding in a fast car, exciting to drive, friendly people. And so, you know, I raced here then. I remember going in, the corkscrew, of course, it jumps up on you unless you know that well. And you know, you come over the top there and you're not really waiting for it, although obviously I started out quite slowly learning the circuit. But I could see the corkscrew is a place where one could gain a lot and also lose a lot. I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult to spin off there. And so, you know, I just took it fairly easily and enjoyed the race. I guess probably the best car I ever drove there was a Lotus 19. The problem with Lotuses, they weren't built they weren't very strong, and they're inclined to lose wheels and things like that. And they were never quite as nice to drive, not quite as enjoyable as, say, a Maserati, if you've got a Formula One car, a 250F, or even the sports cars. And the Lotus that I drove was certainly capable of beating them, but I mean, it was quite a handful. I'm a judge in the Concours. I mean, I know quite a bit about certain cars, and it depends which ones I've got to judge as how much I know about them. But of course, over here you get, you know, I mean, incredible to me how many magnificent cars every year. I mean, we're talking about 150 or more cars coming here. They can't come back for 10 years, and yet every year they seem to find another 150 cars. So it's really quite a remarkable achievement. I retired a couple of years ago because I thought, you know, 81 years in the business was probably enough. And so I did retire, but this is one of my favourite circuits of all. And if there was any way that I could, that I felt it'd be competitive, I'd be out there doing it. But I've now got to a situation where my threshold of fear has come closer, and I get scared before I go fast. So I've dropped out of it.
Goodwood, Easter Monday, 1962. Number 7, so often his lucky 7, careered off the track. Stirling received the severe injuries which were to end his days as a racing driver.
Goodwood, of course, now it's the only circuit that I can think of. No, maybe no, Monaco's not the same. It's probably one of the very few circuits in the world that is exactly as it was in the many years ago when we started. I think it was 1949, I think, or 50. And of course, I raced there every year until I retired. And Goodwood it's not a difficult circuit. It's tricky in a couple of places, and there's one very fast corner over the back called Fordwater, which if you're going to put a good time up, you've got to keep your foot in there, and it's quite difficult. And having said that, of course, it's amazing how many people come. I mean, you can't buy a ticket to Goodwood only online. I mean, you can't arrive at the gate and say, I want a ticket. And yet last year they had 147,000 people. So it just shows you the enormity of that. I mean, it's fantastic. Lord March, and in my case the Duke of Richmond, which Lord March will be when his father dies, he ran this thing and said, and we thought, the reason it happened, I don't know if you know, but the reason that the circuit happened is that Tony Gaze, the Australian, who drove, as an amateur, he was stationed down there in the RAF, I think he came over, or the Royal Australian Air Force, whatever it was, and he turned to Freddie Richmond, the Duke of Richmond, to Gordon, who was the landowner there, and said, the circuit you've got here really would make a good racetrack. And so he said, oh really? And so right from then it started. And of course it'd be enormously successful. It's getting even better because now there's no prizes or anything at all. It's amazing the people who come along want to join in and be that way. And I mean, they've got old planes there, of course, Spitfires and Hurricanes and so, which take off and fly around. I mean, it's a tremendous occasion, and it's a sort of occasion that everywhere else would like to be able to do, but they just can't do it, It's got so much history.